real freedom isn't doing whatever I want. Real freedom is having the power to say no. And I think that's really, really the thing there.
Kindness.
Why kindness?
Because it makes a difference.
For connection.
Kindness can change lives.
It's contagious.
The science says you'll be glad you did.
Kindness is the key to a healthier, happier world.
Why kindness? While no one answer is the same, one thing is clear. Kindness is something we all know, but do we know why it matters? I'm your host, Jacqueline Lindsay, co-founder CEO of kindness.org, and you're listening to Why Kindness. Jimmy, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, even better that I'm here on your show. And yeah, I'm just super stoked. And thanks for having me on here.
Oh, it's a pleasure. It's an honor. We open up every show with the question, why kindness? What would you say to that?
Yeah, why kindness? I think the main reason is life is so short. We're here today, maybe gone tomorrow. It's so quick, and we really want to make our lives matter. And yeah, kindness is the most powerful thing because you might have grown up in an awesome family with awesome parents, but most people grow up in really dysfunctional places, homes, situations. Everyone's going through something, even like it's impossible to be shielded your whole life from the evil and stuff that is in the world. And so, man, it really is important, if you can just have that little extra patience and let that person get in front of you when they're switching lanes, or, to say hi to the person in the grocery line, or if you want to be bold, buy someone a cup of coffee behind you. Like that really could be a pivotal moment in their life when they feel like they're at the end of their rope. So that's really why kindness, and the inspiration from that is just, loving on people in a selfish way. Like it's like amazing for them, but it's also so healthy for you as well to love on people and to be selfless, because that's what you were created to do.
Whew, love that. Out of the gate. Amazing. Thank you. So good. What's your first memory of
Oh
kindness?
man, first memory, that's kind of difficult. I feel like most recent memory, I mean, it's not most recent. This happened like 5, 6 years ago, but it's so vivid in my mind that the most prominent one, a real example, is when I was getting a haircut in like Fargo, North Dakota, and I didn't know anybody there, and I was getting a haircut, just having an average day driving across the country. And yeah, I went to go pay, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you're good." This old guy, I mean, probably like in his 70s, 80s. He's like, "Yeah, he just paid for your haircut." I'm like, "Well, where's this guy at? Let me say thank you." And he was out the door, gone. And I was just like, "What in the world? Like, why did he buy my haircut?" And I'll never know the answer to why, but like that really like hit me so hard, I feel like. And I got in my car after that, and I just told like 15 people, I'm like, "You won't believe it. Someone just paid for my haircut." And it was the simplest thing ever, but I couldn't stop talking about it. And so I think that's why I realized that, like, yeah, the smallest things you could do to bless a stranger, or whatever, like to you, they might just say, "Oh, thank you so much." But when they get home, they're going to tell someone, that person's going to tell someone. And it's really like a traveling story that just, it's the gift that keeps on giving. So to me, whoever that
Yeah.
is, maybe he's watching your show. If he is, you're amazing. But
Yeah.
yeah, that really stuck out to me a lot.
I love that. And I love that you said it was just an average day driving across the
Oh yeah,
country.
my
So,
Honda's, I got some
yeah.
miles on it. It's about to give out any minute.
Yeah. Okay. So, for anyone who may not be familiar with you or your work, tell us a little bit about what you
Yeah,
do.
so I basically try to just highlight the amazing people in the country. The news does a pretty good job at highlighting the not so great things going on, but I try to highlight the good things going on. And how I do that is I go to laundromats, gas stations, thrift stores all over, and I simply just ask people for help. And when they help me, it's not all the time they do, but when someone helps me, I then say, "Actually, I didn't need your help. I was trying to see the first kind person today to be willing to talk to me and help me. And I actually have a gift for you." And so I'll usually reward them with $500, sometimes $1,000, and then hear more of their story. And a lot of times these people who were so generous, the gift doesn't stop there, because they end up saying, "Yeah, this is crazy. This is my last $10. I'm facing eviction," or "This is going on. I just lost my job." And from there, I say, "Is it all right if I share your story? I've got some friends that might be able to help you out." And they have no clue what I'm talking about, but I'm like, "Is it all right if I put your video on social media and just try to see if some friends of mine can help you out?" Little do they know, we've got like 20 million friends. And so I edit these videos, post them, and within 24 hours, a lot of times we get 50 to $100,000 raised for these people. And so I'll meet up with them the next day and say, "Hey, I got a little gift for you." And I think I'm gonna be oops, sorry. I think a lot of times they think it's just gonna be like chocolate or some flowers, but I'm like, "Yeah, just please don't have a heart attack." But in the last 24 hours, 50,000 strangers donated, $50,000 to you. And so it's really fun. It's a blast. I can't believe I get to do it. And that's really my goal, is just to go around the country, and other countries as well when I'm there, but just to show that there really is awesome, awesome people.
Mm. Do you have a sense of when this first started? Can you
Yeah,
point
yeah. So the
back
very,
to the
very first
beginning?
time this happened is when I was a kid for Christmas. My parents were like, "Jimmy, we got a gift for you." And I'm like, "All right, what's it gonna be? A Hot Wheels or a PlayStation?" And they go, "We got $200 for you." And I was jumping up and down almost through the ceiling of the house. And then they go, "Hold on a second. We got one more caveat for you. It's $100, Jimmy, is for yourself, and the other 100 you gotta find someone to give it away to a stranger." And I was like, "What in the world? I gotta give away half my Christmas gift? This doesn't sound like a Christmas gift. What is this?" And I was like, "Half of it? That's like way more than even a tithe is 10%, half of it." But I was like, "All right." And so sure enough, we were driving in Minneapolis, me and my mom, and I saw this homeless guy out in the cold. I decided to give him the $100, and just the look on his face. I mean, he was so shook. He looked back at this little kid and was like, "God bless you." And it was so powerful. And in that moment, I got back in my car, and I don't think I realized fully what I had done, but I was like, "Wait, this guy's actually going to be able to like get a coat now and like go inside and maybe get something to eat." And it just,
Mhm.
those thoughts start going through your head as a kid. And then looking back at it, it's like, man, I remember that so vividly like it was yesterday. And I have no clue what I got that year for Christmas. And so it just shows you how, like, yeah, impactful moments definitely outweigh whatever material thing you're trying to get or grasp that to, is really going to be fleeting, and just you're gonna end up not even remembering. So
Yeah, amazing. Thank you for sharing that. You've built this, what appears to be an incredible following, a movement of people that you galvanize around rallying to help these people. But I want to talk a little bit about the book, Undercover Kindness, which I think goes a lot deeper into your journey. So tell us the premise of how this book came to be.
yeah, yeah, this book, I spoke at a conference on a panel. It was like some different influencers talking about how they were bringing good into the world. And I got done and I was leaving the conference, and this guy, Brian Norman, he like hunted me down. He goes, "Hey, hey, Jim," he goes, "Your story's like so powerful, man. I really think you should write a book about it." And I was like, "Oh, I don't know. Like, I'm not really interested in that. Like, I could barely read a book in high school. Like, I don't think I should be the one putting a book out." And he's like, "No, really, you should." And so I got his number. And yeah, I think it was almost like 2 years. This guy would call me and call me and call me, and I would just push it off, push it off, push it off. And eventually I was like, "All right, like, what is the next steps on this thing?" And I remember just back to, when I was 18 years old, gave my life to the Lord, that one of the first books I got and read was, I did the audiobook. So I was in the car, but The Purpose Driven Life. And he just talked about concepts that were really like intriguing and questions you have, And so I was like, man, I really would like to write a book for that person who's,
Mhm.
like 18 years old, 17 years old, trying to figure out, like, is God real? Should I follow him all my life? Should I not? This, that, like some of these questions. Also for the person who's in their 40s or 50s, 50s and they're like, man, I need just, to know that there's good in the world and I need to just, reignite my faith and get hope again. Or for the person that's 90 in a nursing home, so they can just laugh and they can be like, wait, the mission field is actually where I'm at right now. And the reason I say that, my grandma's just an amazing inspiration. She's like 93 now, and she has like a Bible study in her nursing home, and she's just like, leading people to the Lord. And it's just powerful. So, really, at every age, we can have an impact. But I think books are just super powerful because you have to put your phone away, stop. And I think in the silence, when you quiet your heart and when you turn the music off and you're just sitting there, I think that's when God really has an opportunity to communicate to you, which he's been trying to, but it's so hard for God to communicate to us when there's constantly a ding here, a buzz there, a call here, a this there. Like, it's so hard. So yeah, that's kind of the premise.
Wow. Okay. And so this book is, I think, a very intimate look at your life. Is this the same Jimmy that everyone on social media would know?
Yeah, I mean, the same person, but just in deeper ways. Obviously, social media, I don't really hold anything back, like I pray for people in videos, I'll break dance with them, on a counter at 7-Eleven. So they've seen glimpses of all these stories, but it's really just kind of going behind the curtain to all this stuff and to really, yeah, like the faith journey and everything in a deeper way. And so the videos are more like you see somebody get their life changed, but the book is hopefully to change your life as the reader.
Yeah. Yeah. So what would be your hope with anyone who reads it if you could wave a wand?
Yeah, honestly, the main thing would be to know that we all have such individual callings and God has something so cool for all of us. That's why all of our thumbprints are different, like no
Mhm.
one has the same thumbprint because God made us all so uniquely. And I think everyone has such a unique calling and a unique passion. And I think that's really key to figure out what that is. But at the
Mhm.
same time, it's really key to add practical steps to that and to walk that out rather than be like, I always have felt that people get over spiritual and they just kind of like have these big dreams and visions and they just wait for God to make it happen when it's like, no, like he gave you, hands and feet and a brain for a reason to like apply the things he's putting into your heart into the world. And so, most of the time when somebody is just kind of, really mean to people or living a lifestyle not that way, it's because they're blind, they're blind to why they're on earth and they're blind to their actual value. And if you were walking on a street and a blind guy bumped into you, you wouldn't be like, bro, what the heck are you doing? You'd immediately be like, oh, I'm so sorry you bumped into me, sir. It's this way. And so just to understand that when people are rude to you or super mean, say nasty things, it's actually they don't really know what they're doing, like they're blind. And so just to try to love them out
Mhm.
of that. And that would be my key. Just anyone who picks up the book, would have childlike faith, would loosen up their shoulders a little bit, not take things so serious. Although life is extremely important and extremely serious, you can still have that belief, but also not take things so serious, and I think that's the balance.
Yeah, I think what I admire is that you're trying to show a version of God that feels quite unique, probably to what a lot of people think of, where it can feel like a lot of rules or rigidity. And you've tried to bring a lightheartedness and love and joy to how God can show up and work through people. This season of Why Kindness is made possible by the Wasserman Glasser family in loving memory of Sandra K. Wasserman. Sandra believed that kindness could change the world, and she had a remarkable way of making everyone feel seen, valued, and loved. Her signature phrase was simple, yet powerful: thank you for your kindness. Her belief in kindness as a force for change is the very heartbeat of this podcast. In her honor, we invite listeners to do the same. Think of someone who has shown you kindness and let them know. A simple thank you can ripple farther than we ever could imagine. From the Wasserman Glasser family, thank you for your kindness. We are honored to carry Sandra's light forward into this season. I am curious if that was something you always felt or believed in, or like, did you have a time where it was about the rules and, you know, like not having fun? Like, how do you
Yeah.
balance, you know?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, that was the majority of my life growing up, was just that thought that, yeah, like, obviously, God is real. I believe in him. I believe in Jesus, but obviously, yeah, there's just going to be like so many rules that I have to follow, and just that life is going to be, probably 60% less fun than everyone who can do whatever they want. And so that was kind of how I believed and lived. And it was until I was 18 years old, and God showed up in my life in a powerful way. Yeah, I mean, you've read the book, you heard the story, but I had these socks. I was out partying in the woods with these socks on that had Jesus on them. And I went home that night and I was so worried because there was some holes in the socks. And I was like, man, I don't know if this is from the fire, from the woods running around, but my mom's gonna know I snuck out to this party and I'm gonna get like my phone taken away. This is gonna be horrible. And I literally just said a prayer. I said, Jesus, help me. And I hid my socks and I woke up the next morning and grabbed my socks. And believe it or not, I held them and they were brand new, no holes. And I felt the Lord just say, Jimmy, I'm not mad at you. I want to be your friend. And from that moment on is really when the shift started to happen. It was crazy when I got saved and gave my life to the Lord. It was like my taste buds on my tongue changed. I remember when I was a kid, olives, black olives were like the grossest thing ever. I would never want to touch one. But now when I go to like Subway, I always get black olives. It's like when you get older, your taste buds can change. And so how living obligated, it just feels like just so heavy and there's no joy in it. But desiring it is just amazing. And I understood that real freedom isn't doing whatever I want. Real freedom is having the power to say no.
Mm.
And I think that's really, really the thing there. It's like, you could go to someone who's an alcoholic and say, are you free to drink? And they would say, yeah, I can do whatever I want. I'm free. Like I'm getting drunk tonight. But if you said, I'll give you $1 million, don't drink for the next 60 days and, keep them in a liquor store, like there's no way they'll not be able to be tempted to grab something because they're a slave to those things. So true freedom is actually being able to say no to things.
Wow. Love it. Thank you. When writing this book, how did you decide what stories you were going to include?
Oh, I mean, I think, it's just the ones that stick out the most, My mom was always my whole life, she's like, "You should journal this, write this down, you're gonna need this one day." And I was like, "No, like, I feel like the best things I'll just remember, and, like, I don't wanna write every detail of my life." So, I just kinda when writing this book, just went through what are the main, most pivotal things that
Yeah.
don't just apply to me, but somehow can also apply to people reading it
Mhm.
where they could take something away because I'm sure we all have stories that are like super cool for our own lives. But I was trying to figure out, like, man, what are cool things God's done in my life, but also someone could read and maybe understand, wait, God is like silly and fun like that, or wait, God is loving like that, or wait, this principle of generosity, I should apply it into my life. So yeah, it's really just the stories that stick out the most, and I hope will benefit people the most.
Yeah. Where do you see all of this going 20 years from now? The book or, the work you do online, how do you see it continuing?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I really don't know. It was crazy. I got coffee the other day with this guy Bob Goff, and I was talking to him, and he was just the craziest, coolest man I've ever met. Like he was rocking a Mickey Mouse watch, and he's like a lawyer and all this stuff. And he wrote a book called Love Does, and it sold like over 1 million copies and just went crazy. And I asked him about it, and I was like, "How did that book do? Like, did it just start selling right away? Like, what happened there?" And he's like, yeah, he's like, the first week sold a couple copies, second week, 20 copies, fourth week, 100. And then all of a sudden, just thousands and like just took off like crazy. There was no like wild marketing plan. And it was just so cool because books really spread if they're powerful by word of mouth way more than any like marketing. So if the book is truly that something that God wants to go around the earth and can really affect people, I think it can have a life on its own. So I don't know, we'll see how the book is, if it changes people's lives, like I hope it will. Hopefully, yeah, like it could turn into anything. I know that guy, he has like he now has like this big camp where he has like people from prison that come there and he loves on them. And then he's got like college campuses. They have like little divisions of like love does like things. So it just turns into anything. So the book's called Undercover Kindness, and yeah, I guess I'll have no idea what happens, but yeah, I like the spontaneity and not knowing. I think life would be pretty boring and I'd fall asleep if I knew everything that was gonna happen.
Oh, here, here. I think something that with this work we've seen is this idea of helping people overcome the narrative that kindness is soft or fluffy or weak. It can get a bad rap. So I'm curious with this word kindness, like why kindness for you? Did you land on that as the theme of what you do? And what would you say to the naysayer who thinks kindness doesn't really matter or we have bigger problems in our world? Kindness can't really help with that. How would you respond?
Yeah, well, I would say, I mean, plain and simple, who's the most well-known, figure to ever walk on planet Earth? It's like his name was Jesus. He affected more people's lives than anyone ever. And what was he all about? He was all about kindness and loving people. That he didn't chose to take his life, he chose to lay his life down. And so, like you're saying, kindness could be soft or this or that. And but the truth is a real man can get struck in the face and just turn the other cheek and bless them and love them. It doesn't take really a strong man to react, violently, or to react and retaliate. Well, you did this to me, so I'm going to do that back to you. Like that's just like that's how animals behave. And so to be a real world changer, I think is to have the self-control to love people when it doesn't even feel easy or feel natural. But yeah, kindness is the most powerful thing on the planet, and you can still be very effective and get a lot of things done in that way. It doesn't mean you're just a pushover and you just do whatever someone says. That's not what it means at all. It's actually like, if you think about it, it's the goodness of God that leads men to repentance. Isn't that interesting? It doesn't say it's the kindness of God that hugs you and tells you to stay the same. No, it's his kindness and his goodness that actually is the most confronting towards our lives to get us to change. And so kindness doesn't keep people leaving the same. Kindness is actually always meant to change and impact and to make us better. So I think yeah, that's just kind of my thoughts on it.
With things that we wouldn't know about you, I'm curious, like, for example, like, what are the things that scare you, or, the things I think well, let me say, when I read the book, I was deeply uplifted, deeply encouraged, inspired. Like it made me, and this is what I do all day is like think about
Yeah.
how to spread kindness. And I was feeling myself already like pushed in new ways. But I'm curious about the things that are hard for you. What are some of the challenges you have faced, are facing? Has there been days that have been hard for you to keep it going? Are there things that scary about the world right now and you don't know how kindness or God could help overcome it? Yeah, anything that you might feel in response to those questions.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I think, yeah, the whenever I have a hard day or something difficult is going on, really, you could do 100 things to make it feel better. You could go have a hot tub, go for a run, talk to some people, but really nothing. And a lot of times I'm not smart enough to do this right away, but really nothing helps my soul and helps me better than if I just were to sit still, turn everything off, and just sit down and receive God's love for me. It says that he has more thoughts that are for your benefit than outnumber the grains of sand on the ocean and the beaches. So it's like, do you know how many thoughts that is? That's like 20 trillion billion. So it's like if you can just grab a hold of a couple of those thoughts he has for you a day and meditate on them, it will change everything. And I think that, yeah, the biggest temptation that's out there is to always be right when it's actually more important to be righteous. And you can actually be right and not be righteous. You can have the right opinion about something but bash someone over the head with it, and that's actually not righteousness. So I would say righteousness is, like for example, if I'm talking to my wife and I have an argument with her and maybe I'm sure I'm right about something, but if I won't stop until she agrees with me or keep going, like, yeah, I might be right, but it's actually more righteous if I would just say, it's all right, honey, I love you so much, and let's move on, you know? So, and yeah, the world is crazy and it's wild. And I heard something, I don't know if it's exactly true, but where it's like we hear more bad news in one day than like people used to hear in their entire lifetimes. Like if you just go back 100 years, you know, with social media and all that. And so it feels like the world is getting darker and darker, but actually the world might be getting better and better. I mean, if you look at history, the craziest things happen and whatever. And so I would say don't feel hopeless. If anything, feel hopeful, but just be aware that, yeah, anything that goes on negative or bad, you're going to hear and see it instantly. And so I would say, like, you know, just be careful, like just stay off social media if you don't have to be on there. Be a producer, not a consumer. That's what I try to be, is like, yeah, I want to reach people because that's where the whole world is, on social media, but I also don't want to constantly consume on there because I know that's not the best for me. So when I heard you're not on social media, I was like, man, you're the perfect person to have a podcast. You got the best mental health in the world, you know? You probably still get what, the newspaper delivered to your house or something?
No, I don't do news either.
Wow.
I am just in a little bubble. I mean, not naive.
Yeah.
I have a couple of newsletters that I receive via email. So I'm obviously
Yeah.
I'm still digitally connected. But yeah, I mean, it was about, for me, I was a consumer, and to your point, and I just saw, it wasn't
Yeah.
helping. It was hurting for me at least. So it was just separation to give myself time to focus on the things where it wasn't pulling me in negatively, but it's a journey.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, it's wild. The Lord, he actually spoke to me pretty clearly like a year and a half ago. And I just it's not like I scroll for 20 hours a day. I'm some addict or whatever, but just the normal consumption I have. And I felt like the Lord just said, Jimmy, stop scrolling or it'll ruin your life. And I was like, what? This is crazy. Like, how is that? Because that's my job and I have to be on there to see stuff. And so I've been kind of on that journey of like, what does that look like to stop
Wow.
scrolling in the day and age we live in? Like, how can you really do that? And so it's funny, but I'm actually wearing this shirt called Up,
Yeah.
and it's a social media company that these guys started. It's not out yet, but they brought me on the team, and they're actually creating an app where it's like Instagram and TikTok, but there's no negativity on it. So there's no politics, there's no profanity, there's no, like, they use AI to scan everything, and you have to be an approved creator to post on there. And yeah, it's just crazy that this app, I think it can have a massive impact. So we'll see what it does. But yeah, the mental health stats of kids and everything is just
Yeah.
absolutely insane. I don't know all the specific numbers off the top of my head, but I think that's a really, really big thing. And
Yeah.
yeah, so I think technology, yeah, there'll be stuff getting darker, but I think the light will get brighter. You know, it's
Um,
like if I lit a candle in my room right now, you'd barely see it. But if I turned off the lights and lit the candle, you'd see it so profoundly. And so I think that, yeah, as things can get darker, I think the brightness will get brighter.
Love it. When's app getting or up getting released? The app.
Yeah, so I don't know. They're still working on a lot of things, so I would assume probably in the next, 6 months or so. But yeah, it's
Sounds encouraging. Wow.
yeah, it's really crazy. They like the same technology, these other apps, they scan your face through your camera, and they actually like see what triggers you and what makes you sad and all this stuff, and they feed you more of that because they know it will cause more reaction from you. Where we like have reversed that technology and actually scan your face to see what brings you joy, what makes you happy, and it feeds you more of that stuff. So it's actually like the polar opposite.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and this app will even have reminders where it'll be like, "Hey, it's been 30 minutes. You should probably get off here and stop scrolling." Like, rather
Yeah.
than trying to hook people for ad revenue, it's like, "Yo, like, come here, get encouraged, but then leave," you know?
Mm.
So,
Yeah. Amazing. Okay. We'll keep an eye out. We'll watch this space. Keep us posted.
yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure.
Um, okay, so we're gonna move into the next little bit, but before we do, is there anything else you would want to speak to or cover? Anything in the book you'd want to make sure we talk about?
I think that's everything. I mean, yeah, that I can think of off the top of my head, you know. Yeah, I just that's really the main thing, you know, is just what we've already discussed on and just yeah, how powerful it really is to be generous, you know. I think like generosity at a large level is super cool. Like it's super cool when Bill Gates or, you know, some billionaire gives away, you know, 100 million to this or that. Like that's always great, but like I would encourage people that maybe that's their only form of generosity to like do generosity at a personal one-to-one level. Like that is so impactful and so powerful. And even for people that feel like, oh yeah, Jimmy, I'd love to do that, but I don't have enough. Like just find like, I don't know, a couple of quarters, or like I said, if you really have no money, just try to drive for a week and try to let people get over in the other lane. Like just
Yeah.
stuff like that will make such a big difference. I know even me, like whenever I drive to Palm Springs where it's where my wife's parents live, I'm always driving there and anytime someone intentionally like slows down and moves over so I can get in the lane, I always like I can't talk to them because the windows are rolled up, but I'm always like that is they did not have to do that. Like that is amazing. And when someone's like that to you, it just makes you want to be like that to somebody else, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot of what our research has looked at is the ripple effect and, the motivations we have and how it affects our own happiness and then spreads out. And that was something I want to say that I really loved about the book. There was a section where you reminded people every act makes a difference and it can be the smallest act, and I think you
Yeah.
said open the door for people, let them in the car line. And I do think sometimes it can be hard to separate like, wait, I can't do this huge thing Jimmy's doing or raise the kind of money he is. How can I still have an impact? And it's like, no, like the reminder we all can. And the
Yeah.
smallest thing, you never know. I have this one memory when I was in London. I was walking home by myself and there was a woman on a bus stop. And for whatever reason, she just looked so forlorn and sad. And I just walked up and I just said, "Can I give you a hug?" And she just sat and she just needed someone to cry with her and she just sat weeping
Dang,
on my shoulder. And,
that's
it's like
crazy.
it's the cost of our time. It doesn't always
Yeah,
take the money. It's like just the willingness to see other people and what we all might be going through each day. And
yeah,
yeah, so I hope that people feel that and know that encouragement and definitely recommend the book. There were a lot of incredible testimonies in there on the power of kindness and the paying it forward too. I loved the story of Melvin and like the way that that then rippled out and the college got involved and paid for this.
yeah,
I mean, just these things where you realize it takes a village, and the
yeah.
collective effort of all of us to help people. So,
Absolutely. That's
mhm.
amazing. Yeah, I wish I could have put that in my book. That's not I felt like I was in a movie there when you said, "Oh, I'm in London, I'm walking a bus stop." Like the picture you painted, that was beautiful. Hugging that lady, that was incredible.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's so cool. I love hearing stuff like that.
Thanks. Yeah, I hope that with this episode, we want to do something where we give the book away and invite people to share like their act of kindness. I don't know, we haven't solved it yet, but want to come up with something where like reminding everyone, like don't be a consumer, like go produce
Yeah,
kindness, go do something like what can you do? And so
yeah.
more to come on how we land with that.
That's awesome. Well,
Yeah.
thanks so much. I love that. That's so cool.
Okay, so getting into acts of kindness, did you happen to take the KQ?
Yeah,
Did the
Walker just brought that up to me when I was like, "Oh, joining it." So I didn't take the test, but I'm down to do it right here, whatever you need.
You want to? Okay, do you have the link in front of you?
Let me
I
see.
can I can send it in the message here, the chat here if not.
Okay, yeah, let's see.
Yeah, so it's basically asking what would you be willing to do for a neighbor? Kindness.org, we are bridging science to solutions. So we really look at the role of data and research to drive how people are choosing kindness, and it's really to help overcome that narrative that kindness is soft. And so by grounding it,
Yeah,
it's like here's a way to show up. And what the KQ is doing is putting like measurement to what we think is important. People look at their social followers and number of likes and how many steps they take. And it's like we should be looking at how we're showing up with kindness as humans.
Yeah.
It's like a personality questionnaire. So you get a score at the end, but the score can change. And it's really a hook to get people to examine kindness can feel passive, but it's actually active. Like it takes us choosing it. You talk about that in the book as well, which I love. It's like it's the choice of love, it's the choice of kindness. And this is meant to help people think about, wow, do I even know my neighbor's name? Am I willing to do these really wild acts of kindness for my neighbor?
Yeah.
And then we guide them with what they can do to take action, like, small acts toward being kinder.
Right. For sure.
Okay. So, Jimmy, KQ, tell us your score.
It looked like the purple dot was above like 92% is what it was saying.
Okay.
So
Amazing.
yeah, there was
92.
a couple things in there that were stretching and stuff. It was like, oh, if would you like adopt someone's dog if they needed you to and stuff like that. So
Not a dog person, Jimmy.
no, well, I am. I'm glad it didn't say cat though. Yeah, yeah. I'm allergic, highly allergic.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
that's fair. Yeah, that's
yeah.
fair. Any thoughts on the idea of trying to get people to think about how they would choose kindness?
Yeah, yeah, I think it's great questions, that people probably do that aren't even aware of. Maybe it's things that they do. I think like, would you be honest? Would you do this? Would you stuff that they already do where they're like, "Oh, wow, like I'm a pretty good friend." Or there's those areas where you're like, "Oh, wow, I didn't even realize that, but oh yeah, like I should totally increase that more, or do that." So,
Yeah,
yeah, I think it's done in a very good way where it can encourage you and not cause shame, but be effective in getting you to
amazing.
move forward towards it.
Thank you. Yeah, it's grounded in years of research, and we've been so excited to roll it out as a way to get people to think about kindness differently.
Yeah.
Okay, so we do like a round robin where I'll basically just like give you rapid fire questions and you'll just answer kind of
All
as
right. Sounds
yeah.
good.
All right. Define kindness in one word.
Jesus.
If you could get everyone around the world to do one kind act, what would it be?
If I get everyone in the world to do one, find the person that they dislike the most and ask them how they can serve them.
I love that. Kindness as a song is what?
Kindness as a song, like an actual song.
Yeah.
Oh man. My favorite song, honestly, right now is I think it's called like Lemonade by Forrest Frank, where it's just talking about how life gives you lemons and Jesus turns it into lemonade. And I think it's a very crucial yeah, like thought right now to have that, just like even in the things that seem so dark or the things that seem the worst, like God can turn all things to good for those that love him.
Love it. What book are you reading or listening to on audio?
Oh, what book am I listening to on audio? Well, the only book I have on audio right now actually is Love Does. But
Yeah.
the main book that I've been reading on and off that I actually have been reading like in my hand is probably what's I'm trying to think what's the main one. Yeah, it would probably be Driven by Eternity is the main one by John Bevere.
Okay. Who
Yeah,
would
it's
you want
hilarious.
to
That specific book, I read like 15, 20 pages, and I'm like, this is the best book in the world. And I literally have been like promoting it constantly, like in person to people, and they're like, wait, you haven't even read the book? And I'm like, I don't know, like the first few pages were crazy. My
You knew.
cousin,
You knew.
yeah. Yeah, my cousin is actually like an atheist, and I paid him $1,000 to read the whole book, and he ended up reading the whole book, and I'm like, I actually haven't even read the book.
Amazing.
So yeah, books can get you amped up.
Who would you want to thank for teaching you kindness?
Oh, man, honestly, my parents, I think, yeah, just them, like my mom praying over my room when I wasn't even there and being amazing. And then in my later years in high school, just my dad, like, never being like, you gotta go, give up on your dream and that's not realistic. I know a lot of people, deal with that, but he was only encouraging and encouraging to me. It's actually his birthday today. So
Yay.
I gotta hit him up. But yeah, so definitely my parents.
Amazing. And is there anything you would want to say to everyone listening? One final message.
I would say you are extremely important. If you were the only soul on earth, that God would have still came, sent his son, and laid his life down for you because he desires to have friendship with you and relationship. And you'll be just so overjoyed by that. And like, yeah, he's not mad at you, like even if you've been living fully opposed to him, like he's really not, like he's not that sensitive, he doesn't get triggered that easily. Like he knows what it's like, to be tempted on earth and all these things. And so just have a conversation with him and just know that you're so important. Like you're so important. Like if you weren't here, like, yeah, maybe no one called you or texted you today, but I guarantee you there's a long list of people that would like miss the heck out of you if you weren't here. Like you really are important, even if it doesn't feel like that.
Thanks, Jimmy. I love that. Okay, we end on action. The episode is made possible by the Wasserman Glasser Foundation, and it's in honor of Sandra K. Wasserman, who lived her life in kindness and service to everyone. And she would say to people, "Thank you for your kindness." So we like to ask our guests to think about someone they want to thank for their kindness, and then you can call them now. We can do it live. You can let us know who it will be, and you can do it after, but that's how we'll end.
Sounds good. Yeah. Thank you for your kindness. Yeah, I'm gonna say my wife, and she's working out right now, but I'm gonna tell her that as soon as we hang up on the call here, because yeah, she's just the most kind person I've ever met in my life, and I've never felt so loved by another human. So I'm blown away and feel very lucky.
It's amazing. And is it Mariana? Mariana?
Yeah, Mariana. Yeah,
Mariana. All right.
yeah,
Thank you for your kindness, Mariana. Thank
yes.
you. Why Kindness is made possible by the Wasserman Glasser family in loving memory of Kindmaker Sandra K. Wasserman. More information on our guest and topics from this episode are available in the show notes. We hope you enjoyed this conversation and would love to hear what you think. Please leave a review wherever you listen and join us on social media and at kindness.org to learn more about how you can be a kindmaker. We will continue exploring this question, why kindness, throughout the season. So stay tuned, friend, and thank you for your kindness.